Hello, everyone. Welcome to Always Open. On today's show, we're going to be talking about what you would do if you were invisible for a day, if you've ever kept a New Year's resolution, and a question about quitting smoking. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and with me today,
I'm Bernie Burns.
Bethany Feinstein.
And it's me.
Mariel's back.
Your friendly neighborhood burden.
there you go.
Mariel Salcedo. And female Bernie Burns impersonator.
The anchor of Team Always Open.
It's true. She is the Bernie to my Gus.
Yeah, that's actually
Really?
why I wore these glasses today.
How come I'm Mariel in your gut? That sucks.
Because I host
I'd
the
rather
show.
be.
You're the host of the show, though.
Yeah.
I'm the host of the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Are you?
No.
There you go.
I lost that. Somehow Gus took that away from me, like episode 6.
Because when you think of the Rooster Teeth podcast, you think about Gus.
I
And
don't.
you.
I don't.
I think
And
about
you.
the four of you.
Let's fight it out.
I think about Gus and Bernie. But, like, not in the RT podcast sense, if you know what I'm saying.
What's that? Oh, right.
Oh, gotcha.
Just kidding.
We'll get to that later.
Nice.
I'm sure.
Let's get drunk, guys.
All right, what are we drinking?
We're doing our shout out of the week. This is called the Caribou, and it's submitted by Joe G. And it consists of 3/4 Malibu and 1/4
You're not
pineapple.
supposed to smell a shot before you take it.
Says who?
That's death.
What? That kills you? Smelling before a shot?
It could be bad.
Why do you say
Oh,
that?
yes, because if you spell it and you die, it will
Yeah.
kill
Who the
you.
hell told you that? Some guy who slipped something in your drink probably
never
told you that. Why is this called caribou?
I don't know.
Caribou is like a
was
deer
very
in
good.
Canada,
That was
right?
sweet, but that was
It
good.
is.
So what does Malibu rum and pineapple have to do with Canada?
Maybe because Caribou and Malibu
That's what I was
have like
thinking.
similar.
Caribbean boo? Is that what that is?
Yeah. You go to the Caribbean and get a girlfriend, she could be your Caribbean boo.
It's a delicious shot, by the way. Just criticizing the
No,
name.
that was great.
It was
Thank
very
you,
good.
Joe G.
That'd be a good drink.
It would be.
Nice. Yeah, pineapple. It's almost like one ingredient short of a pina colada.
What's in it? Pina colada has what?
Coconut?
Coconut?
Yeah.
Coconut.
But that's Malibu, right?
Coconut.
I don't fucking know. I'm not a
I don't know.
bartender. Texas probably knows. What's in a pina colada?
And
Pineapple juice.
And rum.
That's so good.
Coconut juice,
Doesn't have to be
pineapple.
coconut rum.
What?
Doesn't have to be coconut rum, but
Coconut milk, pineapple juice, and rum.
Yep.
That's what's in a
sounds
pina
delicious.
colada.
We'll do
They're
that next time.
delicious, by the
Yeah,
way.
they're
Get a
very
frosty
Really
one.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, when we went down to, Ashley and I took a vacation, we went down to Mexico, and I was drinking, whiskey on the rocks, and she
yeah.
was drinking these things called Mayan princesses. And
my
and
God.
eventually I said, let me try that thing. And I tried it. So she had to order a Mayan princess for me every single time she ordered.
Because you didn't want to order it yourself?
I couldn't bring myself to do it. No, it's Mexico. It's a different
I mean,
culture.
it's bad enough.
They're very
for-
super manly.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of
cheese
guys
now.
feel like self-conscious ordering fruity, girly drinks, as some people deem them. But when it's given the name Malibu Princess, that makes
Yeah.
it even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the princess was tough. Yeah, I mean, otherwise I'm fine. Like I'm drinking a Hurricane, which apparently is a shot in a tumbler glass, the way that Texas makes it. So.
I think it's every kind of alcohol in there.
Yeah.
We wanted to get Bernie fucked up.
Yeah.
That will do it. You only
Mission
need one.
accomplished.
Well, let's start off with a confessional. These are like my favorite types of things to start the show off. And this one is obviously anonymous, and this person writes, for starters, I'm a female in my late 20s. I've been a fan of Rooster Teeth for years. I'm currently in a pretty decent relationship. My
Wow.
confession is a pretty decent relationship.
Hope he's not watching the show. He or she, excuse me.
My confession is, I've had dreams about multiple members of Rooster Teeth.
Oh.
They are not always sex dreams, sometimes just friends hanging out. It always seems to be so believable, and then I wake up. I understand this is definitely creepy, and I'm probably not alone. The first dream I had was about John Reisinger.
Oh, right. Okay.
Not Bernie?
Then Ryan, also Miles. And most recently, it was Lawrence. Maybe my
I
mind
have to admit, I was waiting to hear my name a little bit, Bethany. I was waiting in the list.
know.
Are you hoping to hear yours?
You should be upset. I'm really upset that my name wasn't on
Yeah.
there.
Okay, you two, with having dreams about each other. Fuck
I
off.
have not had a dream about Bethany.
Bethany had a sex dream about Mariel.
100%.
She was
hear
wearing a
about that?
strap on.
Go ahead.
She looked beautiful. She looked beautiful in that red bra. Or was it a black
It's
bra?
so vivid.
It was
It's
red.
so
You said it
vivid
was
to
red.
you.
The strap-on
I
was
like
white,
that you have kept that memory.
The whole thing was white or just
the penis.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, okay, you got to finish it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a nice zinger at the end.
Maybe my mind is filling in things I feel like I'm lacking in my current relationship and using familiar faces. I understand they are just dreams, and I obviously don't know any of these people personally. I also might have daddy issues.
What?
Daddy.
Oh, wait, didn't she say she was in her 20s?
She said she was in her 20s.
So how
I
can
mean-
Miles or John Reisinger
They're, okay, well,
be
John's-
fulfilling any
John
kind of...
is
a dad.
early.
Oh, he's a dad. I guess that makes sense.
Ryan's a dad.
But not like...
That doesn't mean daddy issues you have to be a dad, right?
I know a lot about this, but
Okay,
yeah, go
tell
ahead.
us.
What-
No,
what
You
is
are
your-
the only dad at this table. So.
well, no, I mean,
Excuse me.
but I think you're on the right track. Where daddy issues aren't they? You just place someone that could be
be your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
They
doesn't
can
mean
fill
they
that
have
role.
to be a dad.
Yeah.
But John is a mid or early 30s.
He's like 31 or
Miles
32.
is like 20 something.
Yeah.
So that would be the same age as her. So that doesn't
Right.
make sense. And then who else did you say?
Ryan.
Lawrence is early.
Ryan
30s.
makes
How old is
sense a
Ryan?
little
Ryan
bit.
has a kid. He has two
Yeah, but I think Ryan portrays a more mature. He's like on a relative scale, he's like a more mature
Yeah.
image.
He's more dad.
more
But I just want to dive into the daddy issue thing. Like, what makes her think that? Just because she's had sex dreams? I mean, what does it mean that I had a sex
What?
dream
No,
about
it wasn't
Muriel?
even sex
It was
dreams.
some sex dreams.
Some.
Was it?
And
Some
some
Yeah.
just
said she just-
friend
But it was
dreams.
mostly not,
Mostly
she
friends.
said.
I've had, I know I've had a dream about Gus before. I can't remember what it was. I mean,
ahead.
it was like a friendly dream.
How do you not remember it?
Because I remember waking up from it and being like, oh, I just had a dream about Gus, and I don't remember it now. I remember it, you know. I had a dream once about Patrick, and he wanted to order
Salazar?
Yeah, Salazar. He wanted to order like
Join the club.
an obscene amount of pizzas, but like he was doing it in a very complicated way, and it was so frustrating.
It's such a real life scenario.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
and we kept on like fighting back and forth because he was like, "Oh, I want like 200 like 1-inch size pizza," and I was like, "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
Or I
think
want
you're
one
right.
200-inch pizza.
Yeah,
So you're missing someone on that list.
I've never had a dream about you. I've
Why?
never dreamt about.
What about
you.
me?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever dreamt about you. I like don't really dream about real people most of the time.
See, that's why it's like it's interesting reading about this girl because I feel like it happens to a lot of people where there's a lot of people involved in their life.
I don't think it's creepy at all, by the way.
It's not
yeah,
creepy
not at all.
especially if you watch a lot of Rooster Teeth content or podcasts and things of that nature, where you just see us talking about our normal life. And you're like, oh, I want to be friends with this person, or oh, I've just finished watching a podcast, so
Sure.
obviously
Or you fall asleep listening to a podcast
Which
or
a lot of
something. Have you
people
ever
do.
done that before? Yeah.
that's not weird at all. I don't think that's creepy or weird. Maybe the sex dreams are.
I mean,
Even
I
then,
think
though,
it was
you can't
fine.
control your brain.
Well,
Can't control
guess
your
not.
I also had a dream about Georgia and Karen, who are these two girls on
My
this
favorite
podcast that I
murder.
listen
Murder,
to.
yeah.
And I dreamt that they were in my hometown trying to solve a murder, and I was trying to help them. So it was like the best fucking dream ever.
why wasn't I with you though?
Because I don't dream about you.
You should. But we also
sorry.
both love My Favorite Murder.
I know. I'm sorry. Maybe next time I'll will it. I'll will it.
Okay.
I don't have dreams about work or anything like that.
I
like
do.
as compared to like previously when I dreamed about school and those kinds of things.
What are your dreams about usually now?
They're just completely random, like completely random narratives. I did though go through a period, and I was confiding in Gavin about this, where I was having a sex dream every night about somebody at the company, and it was like I'm not kidding, like over a week. It was like 10
wow.
days, 10 days long. And when I saw the person at the company, I was completely embarrassed every
Like
time
they
I
knew.
saw him. And it was just like so I don't think it's
Who
creepy.
were they about?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell that story. Yeah, I don't feel
I
like
got 10 fingers. Let's go.
that wouldn't. I feel like that if I
about?
said that, like I'm in a position in the company where I shouldn't say that about somebody. It's one thing to talk about it like on a kind of an objective basis, but
Let's
it's like,
turn off our mics. They won't hear it.
yeah,
We've
it'll
all
be at
been
the
there.
all hands meeting. I'll be all hands.
That's
All
the
10
new hands.
fingers.
That's like the first time I ever heard the term all hands meeting. I thought it was like everyone puts their hands in and like.
Go team.
Do like
No,
I
did
didn't
you?
know what it meant.
And our all hands meeting is just where everyone in the company gets in one room,
all together.
which takes a big effort now.
Really?
Yeah, we had to rent out a theater, I think, for our next one.
Yeah.
Lol. But no, I.
Oh, a bug just died in your drink.
Oh, it's okay. I'll still drink it.
So Ash and I went to. No, I got it. All right. Ash and I went to. You like, got him.
Impressive.
Ash and I went to New Zealand one time with some friends, and we went out to a bar.
What'd you dream about?
It was a dark like pub where they served mead specifically, which was very sweet drink. And only once we moved the candle over to this clear jug of mead did we notice that the entire top layer was bugs that had flown into the bottom. And it was so dark we hadn't noticed, but we were well into it at that point in time.
Ugh.
And then we
keep going.
then inspected our glasses and
Did you
shit.
No,
see
no.
Alan Richson's post on Instagram the other day?
No?
He had put rice into a pot to cook it and looked down and he took a picture of it and there was like tiny little bugs all throughout the rice.
So they'd been in the bag already?
Yeah.
Ugh, I can't.
Any dreams about Alan Richardson?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you really?
I mean, I have a hard time deciphering between dreams about people and
Reality.
daydreams and well,
Oh, fantasies.
fantasies. Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because I think about certain people when I masturbate, and I'm not denying or confirming that he was one of them, but all I'm saying.
But it just happened to come up in the conversation about him, that's all.
yeah, it just happened to be, you know.
I don't think I think about anybody that I know when I do that. I guess.
Well, I feel like I don't really know him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is good. Yeah, we worked with him very briefly, but every time you masturbate, you think about somebody. Do you think about people at the company ever?
No.
No.
Muriel, do you think of Alan when you?
Who?
Alan Richardson.
Oh.
Name? Alan
I think you said Ellen. Like
when
I was.
you masturbate.
Do you think of Ellen DeGeneres when
I
you
do,
masturbate?
actually, every woman who likes women does.
Well, it always reminds me, saying that reminds me of someone in the company that asked you to take a photo and have a certain face when you did it. And they were
Oh,
like,
we've
just
talked
think
about
about
this.
a boy when you're like 10 years old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's like, I don't know what that's
So
like.
the story is, well, it's no big deal.
No, it's funny.
It's funny.
They
cool
didn't
now.
know you.
One of the girls who works in merch, she had just started working here, and she asked me to do a photo shoot for one of our
It's like a
shirts.
new ladies shirt. that
Yeah.
just came out.
And so I was like, okay. And I was like, this is so awkward. I don't know how to pose. And she was like, oh, just like the next one, I want you to like flirt with the camera. Like imagine you're back in the 7th grade and you're like twirling your hair and flirting with the boy. And I was like,
Classic photographer. move.
it was very uncomfortable. But no, I
She
think
busts out the fan in the jam box and go, now let's just take some for us.
Yeah.
Let's get
here's a couch.
crazy.
Sit down.
So let's move on to our Ask Us Anything question. This one comes from Keith T. And Keith T wants to know, what would you do if you were invisible for a day? Other than spy on cute girls.
No, that's creepy
I would
and weird.
fuck with people. Like I would prank everyone.
Really?
And make them think that they were crazy or that there was a ghost.
You could make a lot of people believe
It'd be
in
really
ghosts,
fun.
probably.
Can you turn invisible or you're invisible?
Like you're, I would say you're invisible.
Like I couldn't like walk out of a meeting, turn invisible, walk back in.
People are like, where'd you go?
I've always thought a superpower would be, after you're on a conference call with a bunch of people, to be able to hear the next 15 seconds in the room after you hang up after
Hell
the
yeah.
conference
It would always be like, that was
Sometimes
tor-
I've done
was
that
terrible.
where I don't, but haven't you ever done that? I don't hang up.
Yeah?
I just wait.
Good
And
idea.
I slow,
know
like I
what happened to me one
quietly
time?
hang up.
Yeah.
One time we dialed into a conference and I guess like it was an old number or like a number that they used for a different one and we called into someone else's conference
Happens
call.
That
frequently.
happens all the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
And we were just like, should we say anything? Or should we just
No.
listen to this? Is
Learn
it
lots
wrong?
of secrets.
You could.
I would just try to get access to something I normally wouldn't have access to find out. Like, I just go to the White House. Like, or I guess now I wouldn't go to the White House. I'd go to Trump Plaza in New York and go there and just see. Like, I just want to know. Like, is what I suspect is it true? You know?
I feel like I would get really depressed after a day of being invisible because I would go into places where people don't know I'm there and I'd probably hear a lot about people talking about me.
Yeah.
Or just go places.
So
where
do you
no
think
one
that
knows who you are.
happens? That's what I'm saying with the
do.
conference call when you come back into the meeting, when you
Yeah.
walk back in the room.
I absolutely think it does. I think it's in people's nature to talk about other people, good or bad, and I'm sure people talk about me all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm so popular.
Jesus.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
You
very
guys-
self-conscious.
I would steal a lot of money. I think
I thought about that too, going into a bank.
I would just like.
Oh, this
I-
is like floating money walking around.
That's
money,
fine.
with money,
But imagine them saying that to someone. No one would believe them.
Yeah.
I saw
I would-
floating money leave the bank.
I would rob multiple banks for reasonable amounts of money.
What if it's the stipulation that anything that touches you also becomes invisible? So
Oh.
if you steal money,
Yeah.
it's just gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you got invisible
that,
money.
I
But then it
didn't hear
comes
that
back.
Trust me,
question.
this is I'm
back.
paying for this with a lot of money. Here you go.
Does it not come back if you come back? You're visible again.
Yeah, that's what I would
Yeah.
think.
Muriel, who could say? I mean, who knows?
true.
Well, in my world, it does.
There you go, exactly.
You can make it whatever you want.
And then I become a multi-billionaire from robbing 3,000 banks.
So you would get depressed, but what would you do? I mean, what would you do with it?
It's like the thing is that I've heard people talking about me before in my life, and it's always been like, do I confront this person
Yeah.
or do I just like be sad?
Right.
And you never
I think
know
it
what to
depends
do.
on what it is too when you've overheard it
There
or
was
if
actually-
you've seen something.
A time where I thought I heard Mariel talking about this is before we
yeah.
were friends.
Oh wait, I was talking.
No,
about
she
you.
was.
And
I know all about
it's
this.
because I used to sit in the office over here and I had like asked you about being in something and you're like, oh, let me check on that. And then I thought I heard you talking about me in a bad way. And I was like, okay, I could either like brush this off and just be upset, or I could be like,
Yeah.
hey, were you talking about me? Like, well, what's up? And then you're just like, yeah, but like I've said this, and this. And I was like,
It was. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was the free play.
it's like the Rocky
Horror Picture
okay,
Show.
right.
And I had been telling Meg, I was like, oh yeah, we need to have Barbara in this. What can we do? And then you had messaged me and you're like, hey, like I heard, you say my name, I just want to like clear the air or something. And I was like, oh, I just want you to be in this thing. Like,
Yeah. And if I had never asked you, I would have
I think
thought,
if more
like,
people
oh, she
clear
thinks-
the air, that would be helpful.
I think we
You
have
know,
a
just
culture
ask.
of that, though, don't we?
Yeah.
We do.
People just talk shit to each other.
Well, yeah.
I worked a lot of places where it's like nobody says anything. There's no venting to
each other.
to one another, and so it's like all that stuff happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I hate when someone's not in the room.
Yeah. But it is hard to know what that line is of like honesty and being honest with a friend or someone that, you know, like if there's someone you don't have to interact with that often or that you don't care about on a personal level, like does it make sense to be honest and direct to their face? Like, or you know what I mean?
Just talk
Like,
about him.
There was
like
a,
if it's not going to solve anything.
Right.
I forget what it was, but there was some hack that got all these emails, and they got released by WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
And one of the email chains was them ripping apart this guy that they were doing business with, and I forget what it was. And of course, people were combing through all these emails. They found this particular email chain where they were just tearing this guy up, and he was like some big executive. Like, what a pain in the ass to work with him. He was incompetent and all this other stuff.
Damn.
I'm kind of paraphrasing from memory here. But his response to it was amazing. He's like, what a fucking bunch of jackasses at WikiLeaks releasing this thing. This is a private conversation between two people. And it's like, he was in some position of authority over them. It's like, people need to be able to vent about their boss and
Right.
be able to do that in private.
Right.
He totally took the high road on it. It was amazing. Like, he didn't respond to anything they said. He goes, yeah, it's totally normal that people would bitch
Yeah.
about someone that they work with.
Except my employees.
Dude.
They love it.
I assume that happens on a regular basis. I do.
There's also a lot of people that I know who talk shit about other people when I'm hanging out with them.
Yeah, that's hard.
And you just know this person probably talks shit about everyone.
Yeah.
That's true.
Including me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely true. When you're out of
Everyone
the room-
talks shit about everyone, I think.
That's the title of this.
It's hard to find that line of like venting to friends.
Yeah.
And like, but not all of your friends have to like the same person. Like like for instance, the three of us are friends, not because we all like you or you or
That's
you.
actually the only thing we
but
have in
because
common is
we
don't
all
like
know
them.
we
I just
like
got
each
cut out of the friend group. Apparently, that's what
They're
happened.
your friends.
I just did a quick.
But it's more of like, it's like the three of us are friends because we know we all like each other. But that doesn't mean we all like the same other people,
Right.
you know, or have the same connections. So,
Well, we deal with that in general at Rooster Teeth. When I was
Oh,
CEO,
yeah.
one of the last things I did is I sit down with everybody at the company. I was both before either of you started working here, and I was
before life had meaning.
like,
that's-
"Where'd you
that's-
come from? Where's your job before this? DC."
I worked in Washington.
That's how I
Yeah.
determine my time at the company is pre-Bethany and post-Bethany.
That's how we measure the company in
Yeah.
general. But I sat down with everybody at the company. It's probably 50 people at the time, and I was just talking through about people's experiences, and then what was the biggest issue they identified. Seriously, out of all the questions I asked, the biggest problem at Rooster Teeth had the highest agreement of response. Like 80% of the people said basically it was all related to inclusion issues, of being included in stuff, and that FOMO feeling of being left out
Yeah.
of everything else. Because
I assume it's gotten worse because there's so many people now.
I know
I-
we've
yeah.
tried to
Although-
make the thing we've tried to make the effort, at least on our side, of like we've been trying to have like ladies happy hours, and obviously we can't send out like an everyone at Rooster Teeth kind of thing, but like.
My favorite is Patrick Matthews finding out about this.
Because now that Patrick is in
"Could
my
I come?"
department and I have like, my girls have always been invited to everything. And then he's like, and I'm like, I asked other people, like, does Patrick count as a girl? And they're like, no.
no. just come
So
with
we
us.
decided that next time we have one, we just decided, I don't know if you guys overheard beforehand, that he's going to dress up as a woman and crash our ladies' happy hour and just be like, hey guys.
Although my favorite part is when we were out, we were actually
I
out,
know what you're going to say.
and we saw Tim G.
Oh, yeah. Tim
He's
and Marshall.
one of the people who works here. And
Oh, I think I meant Tim Geddes. No, I didn't know about
we
it.
saw,
Yeah.
and what do you call it? Like the coven?
coven
Yeah, he was like,
meeting.
"Oh,"
Coven meeting?
He's like,
Coven.
whoa, dude, like you guys having like some witch meeting?
Because like Ashley was there.
Yeah,
Anna
well, because
was
he
there,
walked
a bunch of people
in.
were there.
He walked in and he probably saw like Bethany and like two people that he recognized, and he was like, he like kind of took a step back and was like, oh shit, it's
We had
like
like a 15,
bunch
16,
of women.
17 women there.
A lot of estrogen in there.
And then we
nice.
saw him later, and I think he was like, where are you guys going? We're like, to have another drink, like trying to brush him off. And then he called it the coven. And like, we are changing our little group text thing
To call it
the coven.
The coven.
Dude, it is so weird how frequently I run into people from Rooster Teeth in Austin. And the weirdest one I've got is there's a guy who works for us, his name is Evan. He works in programming. I run into him everywhere.
Really?
So I ran into him in a cafe in Los Angeles. We both live in Austin. I ran into him and his wife in Los Angeles. Then this last weekend, I was in New York for the YouTube Creators Summit and ran into him in New York. And I'm like, how is this possible that I just run into you wherever the fuck you
You
are?
guys are meant to be.
I guess so.
Especially with you guys, if you see a fan somewhere, let's say like it happened with me and Gus in Sydney, you know, obviously a bunch when we traveled together. And someone would see him and be like, oh my God, like, it's so great to see you. And it's like at the weirdest moment of like crossing the street, but
Yeah.
turning the corner. And I love thinking about what happened in their day to lead them to that moment where they saw someone that they loved, like my mind can just take off. Because if they miss their train, they're having a bad day, they took the second one, they're like, I'm getting home late or this happened, but they turn that corner and see Gus. I mean, I wouldn't get excited.
Yeah.
You know, like I love thinking about like what it took to get them to that moment to meet the person they want to meet.
Have you ever experienced a negative side of that?
Yes,
Like
but I
it's-
can't think of an example.
It just happened to somebody we know. I think it's okay to talk about because he said it publicly. So Michael Jones got in a car accident.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, listen, one of the things that's going to happen is that you're going to second guess everything you did that day that led you to be at that point in time. It's a weird thing that happens with car accidents. And sure enough, he was doing that. He was thinking, man, we should have gone left instead of going right.
Or left 5 minutes earlier. Or,
Yeah. Or he told Lindsay, oh, I see traffic on Google Maps, so let's go around it. And then they ended up in a place where they got hit by the car.
Luckily, they're okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was on one of the days on Laser Team, and as soon as everyone heard it,
Shit.
you know, it was literally the only day anyone's ever been late to the set. for
I
really.
think about that too sometimes in a way where I see people walking down the street and I think, I will never know what this person experiences stuff that everyone I know experiences. Love, issues with work, you know, friendships and breakups and all this stuff. And I like that person I will never meet and I'll probably never see again.
Or just the people you randomly meet in life. It's like, how did you end up in the same city at the same time and everything like that?
Yeah. People probably cross our lives more than we know.
You know what's really changed my perspective on that? Is making my car look unique. Because I didn't realize previously how close I was to meeting a bunch of people. Now it's when I park the car somewhere, people tweet pictures of the car to me. And it's like, I didn't realize how close I was to seeing people I knew all the time.
They probably didn't realize they were that close to you.
I was eating,
all the time.
my youngest kid had his birthday, so we wanted to go to Cheesecake Factory.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, this sounds like Bruce. Oh.
So Bruce is like the equivalent of a
All the
12-year-old
Let's
boy.
Play Live tour, every
Yeah.
city we went to, he's like, is there a Cheesecake Factory? We have never eaten there once. What is wrong with you?
So you'll appreciate this then. So I'm sitting there with my two kids, and we're having birthday dinner at Cheesecake Factory.
As you do.
As one does. And all of a sudden, there's 3 people at our table. And they're like, Burnie. And I'm like, yeah, hey, what's up? And they were like, oh, big fans, all this stuff. And I said, oh, great. So stood up, took some pictures and everything. And then they told me, yeah, we were just in this, it's like an outdoor shopping mall. We were in the mall parking lot. We saw your car, so we knew that you were in one of these buildings. So we
my
started looking
gosh.
for you. And I was like, and you looked for me at Cheesecake Factory? Even though I was in Cheesecake
Were you
Factory.
insulted?
I was very insulted.
I would be insulted too.
Yeah, that they
I did not
chose to
wanna
look
go.
for me at Cheesecake Factory, even though I was in Cheesecake Factory. I was very insulted by that.
Were there like some fancy restaurants or clothing stores or something you think they went into first? Maybe that was their last stop?
We were right next to a GameStop, so maybe they went to GameStop first.
If I saw your car, I would have seen you were in a GameStop.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen Cheesecake Factory.
Right next to it.
Now I will.
Similar thing happened to me when I was in Chicago. I tweeted about, you know, my whole Hamilton debacle and like,
know, that was
the
really
fucking
dumb of
worst
you.
day of my life.
You being an idiot.
What happened? I don't know about this.
So I basically.
It's hard to imagine because no one does this.
I love you having to explain it to people every time.
It's the worst. Okay, so I bought Hamilton tickets after the election because I was like, money doesn't matter. We're all gonna die anyway.
Good call. Yeah, it's good.
So I bought tickets to Hamilton in Chicago and in New York.
Live theater will be illegal in a couple of years.
Yeah. Hamilton will probably be banned soon. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I planned my whole trip with my girlfriend around going to see Hamilton in Chicago
Not me, the other.
on April 9th. And so we go there, we're like visiting friends,
did the
having
whole
dinner,
tourist
we
thing.
did a bunch of tours, and our tickets were for Sunday. So we go and we had breakfast and we went back to our Airbnb and we were gonna go to the Sky Deck and we were gonna go to the show because it was at 2 p.m. And my girlfriend's like, hey, like, why don't you check the tickets and make sure we have the right time in case we need to get there a little bit early or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I like pull it up on my phone and I was like, holy shit. And she's like, what? And I was like, it says April 30th. That's not right. Our tickets are for today. So then I go back and I'm like, wait, let's go back upstairs. Like, let me get my laptop. So sure enough, April 30th, all the time, has never changed. I just like pulled a date out of my ass.
Totally done that before.
So what I think happened was I bought the tickets on 11/9 for what I thought was 4/9. It was actually 4:30. And then the tickets in August were like 8/4. So I've said that I think I got all of those numbers and like shoved them in a box and then just pulled them out randomly and was like, I'm gonna go to Chicago on these days. So anyway, luckily we ended up, I was able to sell the tickets and we just bought some for that day anyway. And I went and as we were leaving, we were walking down the street and I saw someone wearing a people like grapes shirt.
Oh.
And we were walking past, and I was gonna point it out to my girlfriend after we walked by and be like, oh, like she's wearing a, people like grapes shirt. And then we kept walking, and then all of a sudden she comes up to me and she's like, hey, like, are you Mariel? I was watching, I saw your tweet and I saw your whole like Hamilton debacle, and I was just like hanging around and seeing if you would be here.
She just waited at the theater.
Yeah, or she was, but it was like kind of the same thing where you were talking about like if we could have taken a completely different turn, like we just happened to hit right at that moment, because we could have gone any other street and like never saw each other.
It's crazy how
I like thinking about that.
Me too.
Serendipity, man.
No, I had that where I ran into somebody at a restaurant, and they kept telling me, they're like, this is weird. This is so weird. I go, not that weird. It's like, no, it's just so weird that you would be here. I go, not at all. I'm here all the time. I like this restaurant.
Now you have to tell us what
Cheesecake
restaurant it was.
Factory.
Cheesecake Factory is Bernie's favorite. Thank you, Texas.
All the time.
Every meal,
fried
isn't
macaroni
every
and cheese
meal
balls.
like
Thank you.
4,000 calories?
At the Cheesecake
Dude,
Factory.
they actually put the calories on the menu.
Thank you.
You can't find anything that's under 800 calories.
That's not.
It's crazy.
Even like a salad?
There's the salads are 800 calories.
The dressing?
Yeah.
And all that shit?
Eat
That's why you
half
always
of
get the
it.
dressing on the side.
Oh.
And not because of that, but like it's always like too runny and
Too much.
yeah.
I feel like such a
But I'm weird.
Chris when I ask for this dressing on the side.
I
really?
don't.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
just
just like, you
bitch,
probably
put
think
that
I'm such a
dressing on the
girl.
side.
Are you guys too young to have watched When Harry Met Sally?
I've seen that.
One of my favorite romantic comedies.
She's too young.
I'm too young,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
great.
that's
It's
not-
I think it holds
I've
up
seen it.
though. I think it's great.
It does. I think
Very
I have a
innocent
copy.
tale of love.
I'll lend it to you. Yeah.
Tonight?
Oh, we could watch it tonight.
It's a star-crossed lovers kind of thing where they can't, like, will they or won't they? They can't get together kind of a thing, and it just lasts for a really long time. I love movies that cross a major section of people's
Do you
lives.
like, I feel like a big one for that is You've Got Mail. It's
Yeah.
the whole thing about crossing paths. What? I love that movie.
Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan? What's wrong?
You brought this up the last time. You
Did
said
I?
something about You Got Mail, and I was like,
I
that's
really
not
like that
how it
movie.
happens in the end.
I really like that movie. That and Sleepless in Seattle. They're both
all
really
of
good.
those three movies, they're all the same.
They're all the same.
But
What?
you cried in the Bachelor finale.
I did.
Oh, that's sweet. Did you really?
I cried at the drop of a hat.
What?
Me and Meryl.
What? That's my thing.
That's her. She's like, I'm the crying thing.
Well,
That's me.
stuff like TV shows and movies and all that stuff make me cry so easily. Commercials, things of that
yeah.
nature. Real life situations, not as much. I don't know why. Something about the music that's involved in them too. You know
Something if
what?
a guy dumped you and was like, then played a little tune.
Yeah, I'd be like-
like Bittersweet Symphony. you'd start bawling.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like the opposite of that scene in Say Anything where he's holding the
yeah.
jam box over his head. Like, he's holding the jam box. It's like,
you.
it's not you, it's me.
What was the
I
last
found
thing
someone else.
What was the last thing you cried in that you've watched?
I don't remember. Probably The Bachelor, I guess. That was pretty recent.
It's like a month or two
month
ago.
ago?
I can't remember.
I also like sometimes
ago,
if I'm
really?
listening to music and it brings up like personal things
Oh,
I'm going through,
totally.
it makes me cry.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot.
Music makes me cry all the time.
Yeah, music's got an emotional
Me
impact.
too.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I cry at a lot of movies.
Or
and
someone
TV.
just saying, "Are you okay?" And I'm like,
Someone just opening their mouth or looking at you in the face. You know what doesn't make me cry? Good bed sheets.
"Oh."
Thanks. You don't need to spend a fortune to get the rest your body needs. Great sleep starts with the right sheets, and they're more affordable than you think with Boll and Branch. What makes these sheets unique is that each one is crafted with 100% organic cotton. That means not only do they feel incredible, but also look beautiful. You're getting twice the comfort and style at half the price. You'll love these sheets. Try them for 30 nights and see for yourself. If you don't love them, return them for a full refund. Anyone who sleeps on Boll and Branch sheets loves them, and that's why they have thousands of 5-star reviews. The New York Times, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal rave about them, and even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll and Branch sheets. Did you know that, Bernie?
I didn't know that.
3. That's a lot of presidents.
That's fascinating.
Go to bollandbranch.com today and you'll get $50 off your first set of sheets plus free shipping when you use the promo code ALWAYSOPEN. That's $50 off plus free shipping right now at bollandbranch.com, spelled B-O-L-L, and branch.com, promo code ALWAYSOPEN. bollandbranch.com, promo code ALWAYSOPEN. Thank you, Boll and Branch.
Yeah, I feel like you always need new sheets.
I just want
I
cool
want new
sheets.
sheets.
I want cool sheets.
Cool. That's what I want too.
Like
It's
cold?
Like I am not good in any extreme of weather. So like,
Too cold or too hot?
yeah, I can't.
You'd be good in like
San
Seattle.
Diego is nice.
San Diego's so, yeah.
San Diego.
San Diego or like Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle gets a little chilly, I guess.
Rainy though, right? It
Yeah.
rains all the time.
Seattle, no. I wouldn't
Pretty
want to
mild,
live
though.
there.
You would do
LA.
terribly in Canada.
LA has beautiful weather.
But
That's,
no,
why
like
that's why I think I run so cold. It's because I've had 22 years of being freezing.
But see,
She
you
moved
would
to
think that
Texas?
would work, but no.
She was wearing a hoodie indoors 3 months after moving to Texas.
It's because they cranked the AC.
even
But still, you're from
now, though.
Canada. Like, you were hip deep in snow.
Yeah.
all the time.
Even now, though,
Stubbing toes.
it'll be middle of the summer and you're walking around with like a parka and a beanie and jeans. I'm just like, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Yeah, you have some issues. Let's talk about them.
Oh, look at this. Tables have
Barbara's
turned.
Let's move on to our next
Barbara,
question.
we wanted to be honest with you about like talking, so we're going to talk about you in front of your
Yeah,
face.
be
Remember we
open
just
with
talked about
us. This is always open. Be open.
Our next question is, have you ever? Fuck you guys.
Ever fucked you guys?
This one.
We wish all the time.
Yeah, Barbara. We're,
Bethany does. She's gonna have a dream about us tonight. So this one is submitted by John L. And John L asks, have you ever kept a New Year's resolution? Bernie?
No.
Do you make
That's
resolutions?
a simple answer. I have in the past. You know, try to make changes. I also was raised Catholic, so there's like 2 opportunities for that. There's New Year's resolutions, and then there's when you give up for Lent,
Lent.
as well. So
Is that the ash thing
That's when
that
it's
people do?
darts. Yeah, it's all the way through Easter.
I've only ever seen
It's just like the ash thing.
Well, that's what Mardi Gras is. It's the big
Ash.
party before you go into
Ash
this
Wednesday,
period of
yeah.
like,
Oh.
yeah.
Fat Tuesday, Ash Wednesday.
Is that like Shrove Tuesday as well? Is that the same time?
I think all that stuff, like I start that kind of stuff all the time. I have an app on my phone that I love. It's called Streaks. And I love Streaks because I read an article with Jerry Seinfeld and he recommended it for writing exercises. So it's basically just a calendar. And when you do whatever you want to do, like if you want to go running, you want to work out, you want to write or whatever, you just pull it up the calendar and punch the date and it puts a little X on it. And then you get the streak going of, I've written for 10 days in a row. And then you don't want to break that streak the longer it gets.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
The
That
problem is
sounds
when you
awesome.
do it, then it's hard to get it back going again.
That's like a whole Snapchat mentality. You know, you have your streaks.
I've never had a streak with anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's weird that they do that.
Yeah. it
I
is
don't
weird.
do
Listen,
that.
I have a streak.
It is weird, but I
I
get
bet you do.
very
Let me find
upset
it.
when
Let
my
me find
streak
it.
breaks with my friends.
So that's
find how many days we
a
are.
streak is how many times you've, or like
How many
Snapchatting
days in
someone
a
every day?
row you've Snapchatted with
Interesting.
someone.
So we've broken it before because you have to do it every 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like we try to snap a photo every morning, but like if we forget to snap that night or that it's a weekend, we've lost it before. We're at 155.
Jesus
Wow,
Christ.
that's like
consecutive
We're trying to get
days.
to
Almost half a year.
365,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, then we'll give it up.
Then we're done. That's it.
But he'll text me sometimes, or I'll text him, and he's like, "The streak, B, the streak." You have to
Yeah,
snap
it has
me."
you a little. It gives you a little.
It gives you a
timer.
time, like
Do you
a,
ever streak in your streak?
you know, maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, maybe.
She just sets up her camera.
It's on
and she
Snapchat. It's fine.
posts it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's what
Those
Snapchat's
pictures
Yeah,
are
but
gone
then you
forever.
you screenshot that shit, and then it's saved forever.
Of
Did
course.
you can see though if he screenshots it, right?
Oh yeah,
He does.
But aren't your apps even
I'm
hide
safer
that?
about that. He's not so much.
You mean you save his photos?
Well, yeah.
She's got to have material for later that night.
Long
I
distance,
I
you
just
know?
wonder what
know?
a fucking Bruce Green Snapchat looks like.
It's pretty hot, Birdie.
Is it?
He's at the
Seems like-
Cheesecake Factory. He's
Yeah.
going crazy.
It just
got
seems
a
like that film of
cheesecake.
Bigfoot where
He's
he's
got
walking through
his
the
hairy
woods and he's like
chest.
that. Yeah. That's what I imagine with Bruce. Is just Bruce looking over his shoulder quizzically.
I feel like New Year's resolutions to me are such a weird form, like a weird example of how odd humans are and the way we're so cyclical in a sense where you feel like, oh, it's January 1st,
Yep.
starting
make a
over.
change.
Or people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to start my diet on Monday.
I have that every night of my life.
Yeah, or the first
Yeah.
of the month or whatever.
Anything. It's the way, I don't know why it's the way our brains are wired. but
Tomorrow I'm going to be super organized.
I'm
and
gonna wake up at
very
7.
disciplined. Yeah, tomorrow. Literally, I'll think that at 7 p.m. I'm fucking off right now, but tomorrow I'm going to be fucking
I think
amazing.
every single night of my fucking life, I'm like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 6:30. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to feel great.
Yeah.
6:30 goes, I'm nah.
Tomorrow I'm going to be awesome.
I'll do it
Start
tomorrow.
again. Right, yeah.
Yeah, every
And tomorrow
time.
never comes. Yeah, you have to start it somehow.
Yeah.
So my, like every time I have a New Year's resolution, it's always just like do more and better. So it's never like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set this goal and try to achieve it. Like read every day or do this or whatever it is. It's always like, just do this, but more. Like you
So
know,
how do you gauge your success?
at the end of the year.
Okay.
Like,
Really? At the
what
end of
did
the
I do?
year?
Yeah. I'm
Do you-
like, what did
But do
I
you take little like periods of time where you check back in? You're like, did I do enough in the last 3 months?
I think
4
every year I
months?
just make a bigger effort to say yes to more stuff.
I get that.
Like take opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Because when I used to be really shy when I was younger, and I would never do anything. I would never want to be in films or like do shows like this. And now I'm just like, no, like I'll fucking do it.
I actually am very bad at New Year's resolutions, but this
Do you make
year,
them?
I do make them. So there's a lot of like weird Mexican traditions that people do for New Year's. So one of them is like you wear yellow underwear for money on New Year's Eve. You wear red.
How do people know you show them your underwear? They give you money.
No. It's
Like
more
it's
of like
for,
a
like,
good,
good
like,
luck.
like
I
a good
see.
luck type.
Got it. Okay.
Red underwear for love if you're in need of love or money.
If you have yellow and red underwear.
Then you're set.
You're a prostitute.
There's another thing where you grab a broom and you sweep out the bad spirits.
Yeah.
You grab suitcases and run.
Suitcases and go out the door.
Yeah, go out the door and
Right.
run around your neighborhood.
What is that?
And then you're just throwing
Travel.
throwing change as well as the throwing money.
I think there's throwing change. We eat grapes instead of like I know people
Yeah.
eat black-eyed peas. We eat 12 grapes.
Could
for
you do
resolutions and stuff.
all those?
I've done it. Yeah. So actually this year I kind of like made a point to instead of doing like, all right, I'm gonna have this big resolution, or I was like, I'm gonna take each month and try and do something each month, something different. So like for example, April, I was trying to do more photography and stuff. So like I took my camera to Chicago with me. May is more of like trying to work out more and be healthier and whatnot. Which this is like
That's cool to have like month
What are you drinking?
goals.
I don't even know. I think it's
water.
just like Sprite and something. Sprite and vodka. Yeah,
Fancy.
nothing too crazy.
We're a little more fancy.
But you know, just like little more manageable goals.
That's a good way to
I think
go
people
about
get
it.
super
People set
overwhelmed
themselves
when you when you're
up
like,
for
oh, I have
failure.
to do this one thing and I have to do it
Yeah.
all year long, and it's like 2 weeks in, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's easier when you have like an end in sight. Or,
It is always funny to see how busy gyms get the first week of January.
Holy shit, you're right.
Damn. Like, I don't even bother going to the gym that week because I'm like, it's just going to be
Yeah.
full of people who are like, all right, this is the year.
Yeah.
And then, like, within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're gone.
Yeah.
It's like, you're good.
Yeah.
What about you, B?
I mean, kind of probably the same stuff. Like, Bruce and I did the no drinking for the month of January. I know that's not a full year, but like to
you
me,
were
that was part of
miserable
our.
to be with.
I was miserable, wasn't I?
Were you? Were you a nightmare?
I didn't have my champagne, Bernie.
Listen, I get it. You and Ashley are champagne drinkers.
And
a
like, so
different
I would
woman.
say this: we didn't do the full month. We did 30 days because on the 30th was when we flew to Sydney. So as soon as we got to fucking LAX, I was like, woo!
Were you at a
And
New
wait,
Year's
those aren't
party
dicks.
that we
Okay,
had?
okay.
What happened? Were you at the New Year's party that we had?
We were in LA, remember?
Damn, can you imagine if
We
she was
missed
there?
it.
That was
that
a
was-
champagne bottle
Well, that's what I mean.
graveyard.
That would have been fine.
I couldn't imagine if
Yeah,
you were
'cause
there.
it's the night before.
Yeah. And we spent it with the Kovics in LA.
We would have
and
doubled the champagne.
I think because Bruce and I had already known that this was coming, I really didn't want to drink that much that night. I just kind of was like, even the champagne that Jess and I, Adam's wife, had while we were out, I was like, I don't really need to finish it. Like, I was just kind of ready to be done.
Didn't want to, like, load
But
up.
it was probably about a week where I was like, fuck. I wish I didn't tell everyone I was doing this. But that's why I tell people so that I can be held accountable.
accountability.
Yeah.
I have done one full year with no soft drink, soda, or whatever,
Nice.
and that was nice. And then kind of what you've done, I've done in the past where I was like, take each month to do something. Or even what you've said in the general sense, I'm going to be more like this. Like this year, it was kind of like, I've told you guys, like I want to be more positive and open-minded about new things, new people, new everything, and be more accepting and, you know, just, I don't know, just be a little softer. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good way
Your
to go
face
about it.
too.
yeah,
A little softer.
yeah. But I need to
Moisturize
work with-
more.
Yeah, you know, I'm getting older. As you call me, Grandma Beth.
I think everyone's resolution should just
really?
She
be
does. It's fucking rude.
just be better people.
What am
I think
I?
is what everyone's.
Fucking rude. I
resolution-
know.
Bernie.
Are you going to say that in front of Bernie that I'm Grandma Beth?
Not Mr. Burns, no.
No, there you go, Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns.
Fucking Simpsons character. We know your brain does protect you from big changes. I read an article about how everyone who's on The Biggest Loser, it's a show in America where they lose as much weight as they can.
Quickly, very
The
quickly.
body will fight to get back to that weight. It fights. That people who lose an enormous amount of weight, they have to eat so much fewer calories
Yeah.
to maintain that weight because the body wants to put that weight back on.
I've heard horror stories about that.
Yeah.
Biggest Loser, of them just like literally starving them, eating 800 calories a day.
And they're eating a muscle and everything like that
Yeah,
as well.
just terrible for you.
And then there was experiments too where even on a perception basis, your brain will protect you from big changes where they would have someone go up to a counter, at an information counter, and they would ask for, where's this? And the person says, that's, and they drop something, they get down below the counter, bend down to pick something up, and somebody totally different would stand back up. and answer their question.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody reacts at all.
No one
They're like,
realizes
okay,
it.
thank you very much. And they go off to their thing. That if
seen
there's
that.
huge changes, your brain protects you from those. And I think the same thing happens with resolutions. If you try to do something that's too massive,
Too crazy.
yeah, your brain will just be like, you don't need to do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go back to the way you were. But if you
Yeah.
make small changes on a regular basis and you have discipline to it, I think that's the way to get stuff
I
done.
agree.
Like small things like cutting out soda or like doing things like that to improve yourself. People try to go cold turkey on so many things.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
It's a big
without
change.
champagne.
It's a big change.
Yeah.
Well, if you need a change in your career, try Lyft.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
I nailed it.
When you drive for the right ride-sharing app, every trip can feel like a walk in the park. With Lyft, you could pick your own hours and work when you want. Lyft can make driving the best job in the world. Only Lyft offers in-app tipping. When you drive with Lyft, you keep 100% of the tips as well. Drivers have been paid over $150 million in tips since the feature was introduced. Express Pay lets drivers get paid almost instantly instead of waiting for weeks. Lyft has even taken the guesswork out of pickups. The new AMP devices uses color coding to help passengers find their drivers. You could earn hundreds of dollars a week plus tips. Want to make more money? Drive more. It's never been easier to give yourself a raise. It's a simple formula. Happy drivers mean happy passengers. Maybe that's why 9 out of 10 Lyft rides get a perfect 5-star rating. So join the ride-sharing company that believes in treating its people better. Go to lyft.com/alwaysopen today, and you could get a $500 new driver bonus. That's lyft.com/alwaysopen, lyft.com/alwaysopen. Limited time only. Terms apply. Thanks, Lyft. All right, well, speaking of New Year's resolutions, a lot of people want to quit smoking or quit some type of addiction that they have, which is
Bad habits.
our question of the week comes from a person named BG. They just gave their initials.
Blaine
Like
Gibson.
Joji.
BG. So they wrote, I want to tell my mom that I smoke, but I am not too confident to do so as I'm concerned about the aftermath. I'm worried that she will never listen to me again and that she will stop me from seeing my grandparents who also smoke as I got it from them, but I feel like it shouldn't be their fault. I want to tell my parents, but I feel like I couldn't handle the burden of it all. What am I supposed to say and how am I supposed to do it?
Did they say how old they were?
Quit smoking.
Did they say how old they were?
I think they're 17 is what they said in the email. They're like
okay.
a teenager.
So the question is, how do I tell them I am smoking?
I think it's like, how do I handle this? Or how am I supposed to do it? What am I supposed to
You
say?
just got to rip the Band-Aid off and tell
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell them and just stop smoking.
Well, I mean, we recommend stopping smoking because it's not good for you.
Yeah.
It could lead to a lot of health problems. But
Yeah.
if you're doing it, I think being honest with your parents, especially, it seems like they have a pretty good relationship.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
being honest with each other. They might be disappointed with you for a while and maybe not want to talk to you, but your parents love you, hopefully, and
It's also not that bad. I mean, it's smoking, right? Like, it's bad, but it's not like, Mom, I killed someone.
or like I'm doing meth.
Yeah, listen, even if you killed somebody, I mean, as a parent, I would hope my kids could always come and talk to me because I don't think there's anybody in this world that wants to help you as much as your parents. And I
That's so
realize
true.
not their situation isn't the same for everybody in the world, but I mean, I would hope that my kids
Yep.
would come and talk to me if they have a problem.
That's what my parents always said too. And there was
Yeah, it's-
always that trust, and it was like, oh, I have to tell them something. And I've gone through some shit, and I told them every single time.
Yeah. There's no one who's more understanding and more willing to take any fault you have and just accept it because they're your parents. I mean,
You are going to go through stuff in your life that is way worse.
Way worse than smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to go through stuff that's worse than that.
like when you go into porn,
Like you did, Barbara, when you
like
first
I did when I was 16. Just kidding. 17.
Canada was legal.
My parents were very accepting.
They're good parents.
We're not being helpful.
I think my parents'
I'm like,
hearts would break if I ever did porn.
It was 2004.
Dunklemania does not
was a
deserve that.
different
Yeah,
Barbara.
please don't do that.
They are too good at people.
They're too good.
They are.
I'm
I
a
try
shit.
and think of the things that like would break my parents' heart, and that's what keeps me from doing anything that's terrible.
Really?
Because it's like I think about my parents a lot, and like I never want to disappoint them, and I've already feel like I've disappointed them in certain ways. Like,
Why?
Yeah, you've talked about it.
Like when I first came out to them, that was like a huge thing.
Yeah.
I had a tattoo when my mom first found out. She was like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world." So now I'm like, "All right, tattooed gay, nothing else. I promise. Like I will be an upstanding citizen, and I don't want anything else to like come out and you be like upset about it."
So what if you, in your situation, what if you somehow got into smoking?
They'd be super disappointed, and they would.
What would they say?
my mom would be like, "Stop now, immediately."
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be the reaction when any kid tells their parents that.
Yeah,
No
and my
parent wants that.
My mom also has a family of smokers. Like her sisters, both of her older sisters have smoked. Her dad smoked until he died, basically, and she hated it. And so I think it would just be like, you know how this affected them, you know how negative it was for them, you know how bad it was. Like, why would you still like voluntarily do this? So yeah, and it's just not something that kind of weird.
Well, I just want to say though too, it's like if you want to smoke, go ahead and smoke.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I feel. It's like we're all sitting here drinking, you know, and we have so many shows at Rooster Teeth where people drink. This is a horrible habit to do this. I mean, it's really bad. It's unhealthy. It's bad for you. It's habit forming. So I you know, it's like it's hard for me to say, you know, I mean, I kind of want to present a contrary opinion here. Is that, you know, I just recently did a vlog where I went to my friend's business where she started a cannabis business in Northern California where it's legal, and it was amazing the amount of people who were just like, this is totally inappropriate for this channel. Everything. I think, you know, there's probably 10 videos in the last year where people were literally drunk on camera. It was the purpose of the video.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so it's hard for me to say. It's like I grew up in the 80s, so everyone smoked everywhere. I almost miss the smell of smoke in places. And my brother smokes, and I know a lot of people in my life that smoke. And it's one of those things like, you know, you shouldn't start. There's a lot of stuff in life that you shouldn't start, but if you are a smoker, you should probably quit. You save a shitload of money, that's for sure. Especially
It's a big
today's.
thing.
What is it? Cigarettes are like $50 a pack at this point.
I don't know.
I think they're like between $10 and $15.
Yeah, they
Be a
tax
good
the hell out of
guess.
it.
Yeah. That'd be a good guess.
That's funny that you bring that up though, because I think if my parents found out I was actually just smoking cigarettes, they'd be more disappointed than if they found
Weed.
out I was smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, or you do what Australia does, where they put it on the cigarette pack, what it looks like on the inside when you have cancer.
You know, I think that's a function of universal health care.
Yeah.
They do the same thing in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know they did
Canada.
it in the UK.
Yeah, because they want to really scare people from
Well,
what is a very expensive process of dying of cancer.
There was a school project I did in the 8th grade where each person was given some type of side effect from smoking, and they had to do a whole project on that. And I got lip cancer
Oh my
to
god.
do a project on.
There you go.
And after looking at pictures of lip cancer, I am never fucking touching or looking at a cigarette in my entire fucking life. That'll scar you.
I mean, I didn't even know that you could get lip cancer.
Oh,
from that.
you don't
Like,
get cancer
you
from
don't
anything.
know-
I
you
know,
don't
but
wanna
like
know what
I
it
just
looks
didn't
like.
even.
Yeah, I heard about a baseball player who used, you know,
like
dipping
the
tobacco for like 6 months and then quit. Got throat cancer and died.
No,
Yeah.
6 months.
You never know. That's the thing. It's like you're
I
rolling,
tried
you're
it
rolling
once
dice.
when I was 16 because like these guys were like, I'm in a dip, and I was like, yeah, I'm cool too, bro.
Gross.
when you dip, we dip.
Yeah, when I
That's
dip,
such
I
a,
dip.
I feel like
you
that's such a
dip, we
Texas thing.
It's so
Does
Texas.
that thing happen?
And I tried it and just thought I was gonna vomit, and I was like, nope,
with you.
never
I'd
again.
never been to a social gathering or party where I saw people dipping.
Oh my god.
That was once
Oh my
when
god.
I was
everywhere.
not once, but
everywhere.
a couple times.
I grew up in West Texas. So
Yeah.
it's a
Oh,
shit kicker
it's
town.
huge.
Yeah.
So what?
I drank out of a dip cup one time by accident at spring break in Padre Island.
Oh god.
Yeah, that sticks with me. Good memory.
So now you're addicted to it.
Well, actually, I had a great experience. My first experience with chewing tobacco was so horrible that it completely took away my desire to try it. Which is my brother, when we first moved from New York to Texas, I was probably in 5th grade. He got a can of Skoal, which is very fine. You put it in your lip, and it's dipping tobacco, what they call, which is different than like Red Man, which is like leaves that you chew a little bit. So he was like, this is chewing tobacco. And I said, great. I took about half the can.
No.
He took the other half, and we just literally went like this. Started chewing. It then like stuck to our tongues like iron filings on a magnet. And we just started throwing up. And everything else. It was probably one of the worst experiences of my life, and it took away any desire I had to do chewing tobacco.
Yeah, I had a friend who, she always used to bite her nails, and it was like a horrible habit. She would do it all the time.
Still
and
do
then
that.
she became vegetarian, and then she,
stopped.
let me explain this.
Meat is murder.
And
Even if
she
it's
started
yourself.
thinking, she like started mentally focusing and thinking about her fingers as little sausages. And so she would never want to bite her nails anymore because she's just like, I don't want meat. And so she would just stop biting her nails.
Really?
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
That
I was
actually
like-
happened.
yeah.
Wow.
I was very impressed. I was like, not a lot of people have that willpower.
Yeah, I don't.
So what would your advice be? How am I supposed to
I
tell
kind of
them,
like
basically?
Bernie's advice of like,
Always tell your parents.
well, yeah, I think we all agree with that. But just so you were taking the other side of like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. Like, but I would think about it a little bit more. It is super fucking expensive, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
It's also clearly weighing on this person a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of like,
It's like, what are the benefits?
if it's bothering you, there's a reason it's bothering you
Yeah.
to say something.
and even like, who knows? Maybe your parents will like be very understanding and say, okay, like let's help you through this. Let's
Let me
help
buy
get
you a
through this."
nicotine patch.
Yeah, or just like having people to support you in whatever you're trying to quit, or like,
Well, it's like what we were saying about resolutions. Like if you say it out loud, like I'm not drinking for this amount of time,
Yeah.
or I'm not doing this, then people hold you
or
accountable.
I'm trying to quit, and then people are just like, oh, what
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
One of the follies that you can make when you're younger is you can make the assumption that you are bigger than addiction. And if you've ever had people in your life who are addicted to anything, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, anything like that. I mean, I have people in my family, they're addicted to alcohol. They have to have alcohol. I can get blind drunk once a year, and that's it. I have beer when I have a party at my house, I'll have beer that I bought for the party, it'll be there 6 months later. Gus always tells a story about him opening a beer in my house, it was rusty.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just don't have that. But I have people who are so close to me in my life that have huge struggles. It's the biggest struggle in their life is addiction. And I know it's just like some genetic flag that I just missed. Like you talked about missing people on the street. I had that same feeling about addiction that I miss that addiction to alcohol that
Do you not
people
have
close
an
to me have.
addictive personality at all?
Dude, I love food. And Michael Jones, like now that Lindsay's pregnant, I ask her every day, what'd you eat today? What'd you eat? What'd you eat? And I'll like sit here and I'll feed her chips. I'll hand her stuff. It's like, so yeah, I genuinely love to eat. And it's like, I do struggle, with
you think
fitness and stuff like that.
That's your addiction?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say more than anything else. There's nothing else that like, I feel like on an ongoing basis, I have to limit my activity more so than food. But food is awesome.
It is.
It's really awesome.
You know what else is awesome? This show.
Yes, it is.
Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Bernie,
Of
Beth,
course.
Mariel.
Thank you, Beth.
It's been lovely.
Thanks, B.
Stay tuned for our post show that we have a special little post show just for our first members. So sign up and check it out. Well, what were you talking about? We're talking about the worst first impression you've ever given someone. So
Thanks, B.
stay tuned for that.
Shit.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.